Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Russia's Saratov region was attacked again. In less than a week, the Engels military airfield was attacked 3 times. After the explosions at the military airbase, the air raid siren sounded. Smoke rose from this military spot. Explosions are increasing day by day on the territory of Russia. Explosion sounds echoed in Belgorod, Russia's border region. It was reported that the region was bombarded at the border. War on the territory of Ukraine is now felt on the territory of Russia. Tensions about the war have started to escalate in Moscow. Russia can't even protect its own land. Most of the cruise missile attacks of Russian forces on Ukrainian territory were thwarted. Russia spends its expensive missiles for nothing. Course of the war began to turn in favor of Ukraine. Critical infrastructure support is coming from countries. Intense clashes that have taken place recently have started to become more successful for the Ukrainian army. Strategic moves of the Ukrainian armed forces on critical fronts determine the course of the war. Especially on the eastern, southern and southeastern fronts, the Ukrainian army has recaptured many areas since it began counterattacks. At the same time, with the recapture of the border regions, the deployed areas began to increase. As the deployments began in the regions bordering Russia, the explosions in Russia increased day by day. Moreover, the sounds of explosions were heard from the territory of Russia again. Military Strategic Aviation Base Engels, 2 in the Saratov region was attacked again. After the air systems were activated, explosion sounds came from the region. After increasing large-scale missile attacks on Ukrainian territory, explosions began to increase at this base of the Russian aerospace forces and at many military points. It was claimed that this military airport was attacked with anti-aircraft guided missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles. After the explosions, flames rose from the area and it was stated that several military equipment was damaged. Attacks on this military airport have increased up to 3 times in recent days. This situation made Moscow panic. At the same time, it was announced that the distance of this military airbase to the Ukrainian border is around 600 kilometers. As a result of previous attacks, Russian military equipment was damaged and several Russian soldiers were neutralized. It is known that Russian bombers and strategic warplanes are located in this military airfield. It may be desired that these planes, which pose a great risk for Ukraine, are neutralized and possible attacks are not allowed. As it is known, Russia turns to airstrikes whenever it has difficulties in ground operations. These air attacks are intended to be prevented before they are carried out. Otherwise, it is known that infrastructures are targeted with these attacks. Although there is no clear explanation about the attacks that took place at this military airport, Moscow's tension is increasing. Moreover, attacks occurred in the border region of Russia. It is reported that the Ukrainian armed forces carried out artillery attacks in the Belgorod region. According to the statements, after the Ukrainian territory was attacked by cruise missiles, Ukraine also attacked this border region. It was claimed that these attacks were carried out with the bombardment of the Graveron and Glotov regions in Belgorod. As a result of the attacks, it was stated that military infrastructures were hit and power cuts occurred. These regions are quite close to the Ukrainian border. Moreover, Russia was attacking Ukrainian territory from these regions bordering the Sumy region of Ukraine. Especially in recent days, mutual attacks have been increasing in such border regions. In fact, Russia is trying to carry out an attack against the Sumy region on the border every day. It was reported that Ukraine carried out attacks on Russia's border regions before. In previous attacks, Russian military points were hit and seriously damaged. Afterwards, security measures were increased in the region. However, these measures appear to be insufficient. All these events also reveal the inadequacy of Russia's measures and defense. Fact that each attack was hit and many Russian military points were damaged proves these inadequacies. Russia has sent a lot of military equipment to Ukraine since the war started. Equipment used against the Ukrainian army in the war began to be needed in Russia as well. This situation is starting to exhaust the remedies in Moscow. Because even on the territory of Ukraine, there is a Russian army whose strength is weakened in both attack and defense with insufficient military equipment, while at the same time, Russia's experiencing these deficiencies even in its own territory may require facing serious problems. At the same time, Russia continues its offensive efforts in Ukraine. This time, Russian forces launched 69 cruise missiles against Ukrainian territory. Valery Zaluzhny, commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces, announced that Russia targeted infrastructures with these missile attacks. According to the statements, Russian troops launched anti-aircraft guided missiles with the S-300 air defense system and sea-based cruise missiles for energy infrastructures in the morning. However, after these 69 cruise missile attacks by Russia, the Ukrainian air defense systems were activated. Ukrainian defense forces destroyed 54 of the 69 cruise missiles launched during the day. It seems that the Ukrainian air defense is now able to repel most of the attacks carried out. This shows that both the military capabilities of the air defense units and the increase in the defense systems sent to the country are strengthened. In the coming days, if more of these systems are sent, almost all of the Russian missiles will be blocked. Moreover, the fact that these cruise missiles are quite expensive affects Moscow quite a lot if they are destroyed. Russia, which is already dealing with many military and economic problems, will have more difficulty in compensating if it loses more expensive cruise missiles. At the same time, some of the missiles used in attacks on Ukrainian soil hit infrastructures. Energy infrastructures on Ukrainian soil suffer more as they are targeted. However, preventing most of these attacks and repairing the hits also causes Russia to use ammunition in vain. Support from countries continues for points damaged as a result of attacks on Ukraine's infrastructures. This time, aid packages have been announced for infrastructures in Ukraine after agreements from countries. According to the statements, it was stated that Lithuania, Poland and Ireland will send 7 automatic converters. It is reported that Norway, Germany and Spain will send more than 540 generators with 100 kilowatts power. At the same time, 24 transformers from Finland, 19 powerful generators from Israel and 45 transformers from Azerbaijan will be sent. Thanks to such aids, the infrastructures in Ukraine will be completely repaired and the regions will receive electricity. At the same time, Russia's attacks on the repaired infrastructures will be in vain. Expensive missiles and many ammunition used in these attacks were wasted. Moreover, as these aids increase, Ukraine will be a completely advantageous party. If these countries continue to support Ukraine, Moscow will also break relations with these countries. Currently, it is known that Russia is not on good terms with many countries. In fact, it is subject to sanctions from many of them and may have to deal with problems in the military field. This is due to the country's inability to provide spare parts for their military equipment due to their sanctions. As it is known, Russia suffers serious losses due to its strategic mistakes in the war and is getting more and more damage to its military equipment every day. However, these damaged equipment are difficult to repair. Russia, which buys many spare parts from the West, cannot reach these parts due to sanctions. For this reason, he may have to continue the war with damaged equipment in his hands. This makes it much more difficult to achieve success. If Moscow, which has already had to deal with many problems, loses more due to such problems, the war will become completely different. In the long run, the steps taken and the decisions made will determine the course of the war. If the Ukrainian armed forces continue their successful operations, the Russian troops will have much more difficulty in achieving success. If Russia continues to spend ammunition with its attacks on infrastructures, it may run out of military resources for the necessary times. This will allow Ukraine to gain a significant advantage. In these days when the violence of the war has increased considerably, the moves taken now must be carried out in a much more strategic direction. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.